The human warship was too powerful, so the galaxy tried to ban it. Part 1. First contact gone. Wrong Captain Jack Harrison stood tall on the bridge of the USS Dauntless. His blue uniform was spotless, and his eyes were fixed on the massive space station ahead. This was humanity's first official visit to the Galactic Council, and he felt the weight of Earth on his shoulders. "Captain, we're receiving docking instructions," said Lieutenant Susan Clark. Her voice was calm, but Jack could see the excitement in her eyes. After years of preparation, humans were finally taking their place among the stars. Jack nodded. "Proceed. With approach. Let's show them humans know how to make an entrance." The Dauntless was Earth's newest and most advanced warship. Its sleek, dark hull stretched nearly a mile long. Most alien ships were bulky and practical, but the Dauntless had been built with both beauty and power in mind. At its heart was the experimental Nova Core, a weapon system unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Olivia Green stood beside the captain, watching alien ships move around the station. As the ship's weapons specialist, she had helped design the Nova Core. "Do you think they'll ask for a tour?" she asked. "Not if they're smart," Jack said with a small smile. "Some things are better left as surprises." Peter Morris, the ship's xenobiologist, joined them on the bridge. His job was to help the crew understand the many alien species they would meet. "Remember, Captain, most council races are herbivores. They find predator species like us concerning. They invited us here," Jack said. "We didn't fight our way into space just to be feared." The Dauntless docked smoothly at the station. Through the viewports, they could see aliens of all shapes and sizes moving about. Some had multiple limbs, others floated in special suits. The galaxy was more diverse than humans had ever imagined. Council Elder Zix Toril watched the human ship dock from his private chamber. The tall, slender alien had pale blue skin and 4 arms. "So these are the humans," he said to his assistant. "They look so primitive." "Do not underestimate them, Elder," his assistant warned. "Their technology advanced faster than any species we've encountered, especially their weapons." Zix Toril's large eyes narrowed. "Every new species thinks they are special. The Council has maintained peace for 15,000 years. We will not let these newcomers disrupt the balance." The human delegation left their ship to meet with Council representatives. Captain Harrison, Lieutenant Clark, Olivia, and Peter walked through the station's grand halls. Alien diplomats whispered as they passed. "They're staring," Susan whispered. "We're the new kids at school," Jack replied. "Stand tall." The meeting with the Council began well. Humans explained their history, their hopes for the future, and their desire to join the galactic community. The Council members seemed impressed, if cautious. "We welcome Earth to the stars," announced the Council speaker, a massive jellyfish-like creature floating in a special tank. "But we must emphasize our most important rule: peaceful resolution to all conflicts. Violence is the last resort of the primitive mind." Jack nodded respectfully, but he couldn't help wondering how these peaceful aliens handled real threats. Earth's history was full of hard lessons about the need for strong defenses. 3 days later, as the diplomatic talks continued, the Dauntless received an emergency signal. A human trading vessel was under attack in nearby space. The Council advised patience. Their peacekeeping forces would respond eventually. "Eventually isn't good enough," Jack told the Council. "Those are our people." Before the Council could stop them, the Dauntless broke away from the station and jumped to faster-than-light speed. The human ship's FTL drive was another technology that impressed and worried the aliens. It was more efficient than anything they had. When the Dauntless arrived at the scene, they found a small human ship surrounded by 7 Skreath pirate vessels. The Skreath were known throughout the galaxy as dangerous raiders. They looked like large reptiles with cybernetic enhancements. "Hail the Skreath ships," Jack ordered. The main screen showed a Skreath captain, his scales dark green and his eyes yellow. "Human vessel, this is not your concern. Leave now." "Those are our people you're attacking," Jack replied. "Release them and leave this space immediately." The Skreath laughed, showing sharp teeth. Your council friends aren't here to protect you. 1 ship against 7? You should have stayed home. Jack looked at Olivia. Power up the Nova Core, minimal setting. Olivia's fingers moved across her console. Nova Core powering up, Captain. The system is stable. The Screeth ships began to move toward the Dauntless, weapons charging. They clearly didn't expect much resistance from a single human vessel. Last warning, Jack broadcast. Withdraw now. The Screeth responded by firing their weapons. Energy blasts hit the Dauntless's shields, causing the bridge to shake slightly. They've made their choice, Jack said. Ms. Green, you may fire when ready. Olivia took a deep breath and pressed the activation sequence. Nova Core firing. From the outside, the Dauntless seemed to glow from within. A pulse of energy bright as a small sun emerged from the ship. The pulse split into 7 precise beams, each targeting a Screeth vessel. When the light faded, all 7 pirate ships were floating dead in space, their systems completely shut down. Direct hit on all targets, Olivia reported. Their ships are disabled but intact. Life support systems still functioning. Jack nodded, with satisfaction. Send a message to the trading vessel, they're safe now. What the humans didn't know was that a council observation probe had recorded everything. Back at the council station, Elder Zix Toril and other council members watched the footage with horror. 1 ship defeated 7 in seconds, a council member gasped. And they showed restraint, another added. They could have destroyed them completely. Zix Toril's 4 hands clenched into fists. Do you understand what this means? Their technology is beyond anything we expected. If humans decided to conquer rather than join us, could we stop them? The council chamber fell silent as they considered this question. When the Dauntless returned to the station, the mood had changed. The council representatives were formal and distant. Jack could feel their fear. You violated council protocol, the speaker told him. Peacekeeping is the council's responsibility. With respect, Jack replied. Where we come from, we don't stand by while our people are in danger. As the human delegation returned to their ship that evening, Susan looked worried. I don't think they appreciate what we did. Jack looked back at the council chamber. They're afraid of us now, not because of what we did, but because of what we could do. In his private chamber, Elder Zix Toril was already calling a secret meeting of his allies. The humans must be contained, he told them. Their warship is too powerful. If we allow this technology to spread, the peace we've maintained for millennia will collapse. What do you suggest? Asked another elder. Zix Toril's eyes gleamed. First, we need new regulations prohibiting such weapons. Then we need to learn more about this Nova Core. The humans cannot be allowed to keep such power to themselves. Back on the Dauntless, Jack looked out at the stars. He had a feeling that humanity's welcome to the galaxy was about to become much more complicated. The human warship was too powerful, so the galaxy tried to ban it. Part 2. The diplomatic fallout. The news about the USS Dauntless and its Nova Core spread quickly through the galaxy. Alien news channels showed blurry footage of the human warship, disabling 7 Screeth vessels in seconds. Some reports made the incident sound much worse than it was. Lieutenant Susan Clark sat in a large council chamber, trying to explain human actions to angry aliens. As Earth's diplomatic attaché, this was her job, but it wasn't going well. The humans attacked without council approval, said a reptilian delegate, his scales changing color with his emotions. We responded to a distress call, Susan replied calmly. Our people were in danger. Your ship used weapons of mass destruction, shouted another delegate. Susan shook her head. The Nova Core disabled the pirate ships without a single death. If we wanted destruction, those ships would be space dust. The council chamber erupted in loud arguments. Some delegates defended the humans, pointing out that they had saved lives. Others claimed humans were too dangerous to join the galactic community. Back on Earth, Captain Jack Harrison stood at attention in Admiral George Russell's office. The Admiral was a stern man with gray hair and more medals than Jack could count. You've caused quite a stir, Captain, the Admiral said, looking at reports on his desk. I followed standard Earth protocol, sir. The pirates would have killed our traders. Admiral Russell nodded slowly. I would have done the same, but politics is a different battlefield. The Council is now demanding information about the Nova Core. Jack frowned. The Nova Core is classified technology. Indeed it is, the Admiral agreed. And it's going to stay that way. But this incident has put Earth in a difficult position. The door opened, and Chief Engineer Daniel Wright entered. He was a short man with strong hands and a brilliant mind who had helped create the Nova Core. Admiral Captain, Daniel said with a nod. I've analyzed the data from our encounter with the Screeth. The Nova Core performed beyond our expectations. It was 3 times more efficient than our tests showed. Jack raised his eyebrows. Is that good news or bad news? Both, Daniel replied. Good because our defense system is stronger than we thought. Bad because the aliens might have more reason to fear us. Admiral Russell stood up and walked to a large window overlooking Earth's orbital shipyards. The Council has scheduled an emergency meeting. They're voting on a new resolution to ban excessive force weapons. It's clearly aimed at us, can he? They do that? Jack asked. They can try, the Admiral said. But Earth won't give up its right to self-defense. Meanwhile, in deep space, a Screeth battle fleet moved through the darkness. After the humiliation their pirates had suffered, they wanted revenge. The Screeth leader, a scarred veteran named Gortak, gathered his captains. The humans have powerful weapons, Gortak hissed, but they are new to space. They have few ships and fewer allies. One captain spoke up. But their dauntless ship cannot be everywhere at once, Gortak finished. We will target their trade, routes, their mining operations. We will make them regret challenging the Screeth. What Gortak didn't tell his captains was that he had received secret messages from Council Elder Zixtoril. The Elder had suggested targets and promised that Council peacekeepers would be slow to respond. 2 days later, 3 human mining stations were attacked by Screeth raiders. By the time help arrived, the stations were heavily damaged, and many humans were dead or injured. At Earth's military headquarters, Commander Alan Reeves studied the attack reports. He was younger than most commanders, with a reputation for bold thinking. This is just the beginning, he told Admiral Russell. The Screeth are testing us, seeing how we respond. The Admiral looked grim. What do you suggest? A show of force, Alan replied without hesitation. Use the Dauntless. Show the galaxy what happens when you attack humans. That might just confirm their fears about us, the Admiral warned. Fear can be useful, Alan said. Especially when dealing with bullies. The Admiral considered this. I'll take your suggestion to the Earth Council. Earth's government was divided on how to respond. Some leaders wanted to comply with the Council's weapons ban to show goodwill. Others argued that humans needed strong defenses in a dangerous war. Galaxy President Laura Winters listened to all sides before making her decision. We will not apologize for protecting our people, she announced. Nor will we give up our right to self-defense. But we will show the galaxy that humans use power responsibly. Back on the Dauntless, Jack received new orders. His ship would patrol the trade routes openly, showing the human flag. They would not hide their capabilities but would use force only when necessary. It's a fine line to walk, Susan told him before she left for another council meeting. Show strength without seeming aggressive, Jack smiled. That's what humans do best. As the Dauntless began its patrol, Communications Officer Natalie Powell noticed something strange. The ship's advanced sensors were picking up unusual transmission patterns between certain Council ships and unknown vessels. The signals are heavily encrypted, she told Jack, but they're definitely not standard Council communications. Jack was immediately suspicious. Can you break the encryption? Natalie shook her head. Not with our current software. We need help. Jack thought for a moment. Contact Frank Martinez back on Earth. If anyone can crack these codes, it's him. Frank Martinez was Earth's best AI specialist. He worked with artificial intelligence systems that were far ahead of what most Council races used. When he received the encrypted data, he immediately began creating special programs to analyze it. 2 days later, as the Dauntless patrolled near a human colony, 3 Screeth ships appeared. They kept their distance, watching the human warship. "They're staying just outside weapons range," Olivia reported from her station. Jack nodded. "They're studying us, looking for weaknesses." "Should we engage?" asked his first officer. "No," Jack decided. "Let them watch. They'll learn that we're alert and ready, but not eager for a fight." The standoff lasted for hours before the Screeth finally retreated. As they disappeared from sensors, Natalie received a priority message from Earth. "Captain, it's from Frank Martinez," she said, her voice excited. "He's broken part of the encryption. You need to see this." Jack looked at the decoded message on his screen and felt a cold anger building inside him. The message was from Elder Zix Toril to the Screeth commander, providing information about human ship movements. "It wasn't random," Jack said, his voice hard. "The attacks on our mining stations were coordinated with help from within the Council." "What do we do with this information?" Olivia asked. Jack's expression was determined. "We gather more evidence. Then we expose the truth to the entire galaxy. This isn't about our weapons anymore. It's about who can be trusted with power." As the Dauntless continued its patrol, more Screeth ships gathered in the shadows. And on the Council station, Elder Zix Toril put the next stage of his plan into motion, unaware that humans had begun to uncover his conspiracy. The human warship was too powerful, so the galaxy tried to ban it. Part 3. Conspiracy. Unveiled Communications Officer Natalie Powell hadn't slept in 2 days. Her eyes were red from staring at screens filled with encrypted alien messages. Each time Frank Martinez on Earth broke one code, the Council communications would shift to a new encryption method. "They know we're listening," Natalie told Captain Jack Harrison. "They keep changing their codes." Jack looked at the partial messages they had decoded. "But they don't know how much we've already learned. Keep working with Frank. We need more proof before we make accusations." Natalie nodded and returned to her station. The USS Dauntless was now patrolling the edge of human space, watching for more Screeth raiders. The attacks on human outposts had increased in the past week. On Earth, Frank Martinez worked in a secure room deep under the North American Defense Center. Surrounding him were the most advanced AI systems humans had developed. Unlike most species in the Galactic Council, humans had embraced artificial intelligence as partners rather than tools. "Show me patterns in the Council communications," Frank told his main AI assistant. "Focus on messages sent before Screeth attacks." The AI displayed thousands of communication lines on the large screens around the room. Slowly, clear patterns emerged. Messages from Elder Zix Toril's office to certain frequencies always happened just before human outposts were attacked. "Got you," Frank whispered. He immediately sent his findings to the Dauntless. When Jack saw the evidence, he called his senior officers together. Olivia Green, Peter Morris, and Natalie Powell gathered in the ship's conference room. "Frank has confirmed what we suspected," Jack said. "The Screeth attacks are coordinated with help from inside the Council, specifically from Elder Zix Toril's office." "But why?" Peter asked. "The Council claims to stand for peace." "Peace on their terms," Jack replied. "Our Nova Core technology threatens their military dominance. They want to eliminate that threat." Olivia looked troubled. "So the pirates were never random raiders. They were tests to see what our weapons could do." "Exactly," Jack said. "And now we have proof." The officers discussed what to do with this information. They could take it to the full Council, but Zix Toril had many allies there. They needed a different approach. "We have one potential ally on the Council," Natalie suggested. "Ambassador Thurlac from the Valari Confederation. The Valari have always been friendly to humans." Jack nodded. "Set up a private meeting. We'll show our evidence to Thurlac first." Ambassador Thurlac was a tall, thin alien with pale yellow skin and 4 eyes. The Valari were known for their strong sense of justice. When Thurlac saw the evidence Jack and Lieutenant Susan Clark presented, all 4 of his eyes widened in shock. "This violates everything the Council stands for," Thurlac said. "If this is true, Zix Toril has committed serious crimes." We need your help to present this evidence to the full council, Susan explained. Coming from us alone, it might be dismissed as human lies. Thurlock nodded solemnly. The Volari will stand with humans on this matter. Truth must prevail, no matter how uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Elder Zix Taral was growing impatient with the Screeth. Despite numerous attacks, the humans showed no signs of giving up their Novacore technology. In his private chamber, he met with Gortak, the Screeth leader. Your raids have failed to pressure the humans, Zix Taral said angrily. They still refuse to comply with the weapons ban. Gortak hissed in frustration. The humans are stronger than you claimed. Their ships are always alert, always ready. We lose warriors in every attack. Then perhaps it's time for a different approach, Zix Taral suggested. Instead of many small attacks, one large strike against their main colony on Mars. Show them the true cost of defiance. What neither of them knew was that a small Volari recording device was hidden in the chamber, capturing every word. Ambassador Thurlock had placed it there after meeting with the humans. The next day, Earth sent an official message to the Galactic Council. The message was broadcast publicly on all council channels, so every species could hear it. The people of Earth have discovered evidence of a conspiracy against humanity, announced President Laura Winters. Council Elder Zix Taral has been secretly supporting Screeth attacks on human outposts. We demand an immediate investigation and justice for those who have died in these attacks. The council erupted in chaos. Many delegates couldn't believe a respected elder would do such things. Others demanded proof. Some accused humans of lying to avoid the weapons ban. In the middle of this uproar, Ambassador Thurlock stood up. The chamber grew quiet as the Volari were respected for their honesty. The Volari Confederation has independently verified the human claims, Thurlock announced. We have recordings of Elder Zix Taral planning attacks with Screeth leaders. This evidence will be presented to all council members. Zix Taral, who was present in the chamber, jumped to his feet. This is outrageous. The humans have corrupted the Volari with lies. The recordings will speak for themselves, Thurlock replied, calmly. As word spread through the council station, delegates began taking sides. Some supported the humans and Volari. Others stood with Zix Taral. The peaceful Galactic Council was splitting into factions over the human question. On the Dauntless, Jack received urgent news from Earth. The Screeth were planning a major attack on the Mars colony. Thousands of human lives were at risk. Admiral, Russell has ordered all available ships to defend Mars, his first officer reported. But most of our fleet is scattered. The Dauntless is the closest ship that can intercept the Screeth fleet. Jack immediately gave the order to set course for Mars at maximum speed. How many Screeth ships are expected? At least 30, came the grim reply. Maybe more. The bridge fell silent. Even with the Nova Corps, the Dauntless couldn't fight that many ships alone. Olivia spoke up from her weapons station. Captain, I've been analyzing our previous encounters with the Screeth. I think I can modify the Nova Corps to affect a wider area, disable more ships at once. What are the risks? Jack asked. Olivia hesitated. The system wasn't designed for that. Increasing the area could destabilize the core. In the worst case, it could overload our power systems. In other words, we might blow ourselves up, Jack said. That's possible, Olivia admitted. Jack considered their options. They couldn't let Mars be attacked, but a modified Nova Corps might destroy the Dauntless itself. Begin the modifications, he finally ordered, but work with Chief Engineer Wright to build, in every safety measure possible. As the Dauntless raced toward Mars, the political situation in the Council continued to deteriorate. Ambassador Thurlock played the recordings of Zix Taral's meetings with the Screeth. The evidence was clear. But instead of admitting defeat, Zix Taral and his allies announced they were breaking away from the Council's decision. They would enforce the weapons ban on humans themselves by any means necessary. The humans and their allies are a threat to galactic peace, Zix Taral declared. We will contain this threat with or without Council approval. The galaxy was on the brink of its first major conflict in thousands of years, and the USS Dauntless, The ship that had started it all was heading straight toward the first battle. The human warship was too powerful, so the galaxy tried to ban it. Part 4. The blockade, the red planet Mars glowed against the blackness of space. Home to over 2 million humans, it was humanity's first successful colony beyond Earth. Now it was in danger. 35 Skreath warships approached, their weapons ready. In orbit around Mars, 6 human defense ships prepared to fight. They were brave, but everyone knew they couldn't stop such a large attack force. Admiral George Russell stood in Earth's military command center, watching the situation unfold on large screens. "Where is the Dauntless?" he asked. "Still 20 minutes out, sir," an officer replied. "The Mars defenders can't hold that long without help." The Admiral's face showed no emotion, but his voice was tight. "Send an emergency signal to all council races. Let them see what their peace has brought us." As Mars prepared for attack, a blockade was forming. Ships loyal to Elder Zixtaral positioned themselves at key jump points between Earth and other star systems. Their message was clear: Earth was cut off from the rest of the galaxy. On the council station, Ambassador Thurlac and other friendly aliens protested this illegal blockade. Lieutenant Susan Clark worked tirelessly, building support for Earth's cause. "This is not about weapons anymore," she told the council. "This is about a species' right to defend itself against aggression." Surprisingly, many council races began to agree. They sent ships to challenge the blockade. The peaceful Volari, the logical Zenthar, and even the usually neutral Plex joined together. They didn't necessarily approve of human weapons, but they opposed Zixtoral's methods even more. Aboard the USS Dauntless, Captain Jack Harrison studied the latest reports. His ship was pushing its engines beyond safe limits, racing to reach Mars before the attack began. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Daniel Wright worked alongside Olivia Green. Together they modified the Nova Core, pushing the weapon system to its limits. "The power conduits can't handle this much energy," Daniel warned, his hands moving quickly over the hot circuits. "We're asking too much from the system." Olivia didn't look up from her work. "We don't have a choice. Either we risk the ship or we lose Mars," Daniel nodded grimly. "Then let's make sure we don't lose both." On the bridge, Natalie Powell monitored council communications. "Captain, I'm picking up a new signal. Ships from multiple council races are moving to help us. They're challenging the blockade." Jack allowed himself a small smile. "It seems we have more friends than Zixtoral expected." The ship shuddered as the engine strained. "Time to Mars?" Jack asked. 10 minutes, his pilot answered. "But the Skreath will reach the colony in 5. Jack's expression hardened. "We need more speed. Tell engineering to give us everything they've got." In the engine room, Daniel received the order. Without hesitation, he bypassed several safety systems. The ship's engines roared louder, pushing the Dauntless faster than it was designed to go. "The core temperature is rising," an engineer reported nervously. "Keep it together," Daniel ordered. "Just a few more minutes." At Mars, the battle had begun. Skreath ships fired on the human defenders, who fought bravely but were quickly overwhelmed. 2 human ships were already destroyed and the others were damaged. The Mars colony activated its shield domes, but they weren't designed to withstand a full military assault. Frightened colonists huddled in underground shelters hoping for a miracle. That miracle appeared as a streak of light against the stars. The Dauntless dropped out of FTL, engines glowing white-hot from the strain. "We've reached Mars," the pilot announced. "Skreath fleet dead ahead." Jack stood up. "All hands to battle stations. Olivia, is the Nova Core ready?" Olivia's voice came through the comm system, tense but steady. "Ready, Captain. But I must warn you, our modifications are untested. The targeting system might not distinguish between friend and foe at this range." "Understood," Jack replied. "Order all human ships to fall back. Give them 2 minutes to clear the area." The remaining human defenders acknowledged the order and retreated behind the Dauntless. The Skreath, seeing only one major ship opposing them, grew confident. "One ship cannot stand against 35, Gortak, the Skreath leader, broadcast. "Surrender now, humans." Jack didn't bother to respond. Instead, he opened a channel to his crew. "This is the captain speaking. What we do here today will determine the future of humanity in this galaxy. I couldn't ask for a finer crew to face this challenge with. Stand ready." The 2 minutes passed quickly. The human ships were clear, but the Screeth had used the time to surround the Dauntless. "They're targeting our engines," Natalie reported. "They want to disable us, not destroy us." Jack nodded. "They want our technology." "Olivia, status of the Nova Core?" "Power levels at maximum," Olivia replied from the weapons bay. "The core is stable, but only just. We'll get one shot at this, Captain." "Make it count," Jack ordered. "Fire when ready." On the weapons deck, Olivia took a deep breath and activated the modified Nova Core. The ship hummed as unprecedented energy flowed through its systems. Warning lights flashed across every console. In engineering, Daniel and his team fought to keep the power conduits from melting. "Reroute emergency power," he shouted over the alarms. "Keep those cooling systems online." The Dauntless began to glow from within, just as it had during their first encounter with the Screeth. But this time, the glow was brighter, almost blinding. Into the space around Mars, time seemed to slow. The Screeth ships fired, their weapons closing in on the Dauntless. The human ships' shields absorbed the first hits, but they couldn't withstand such an assault for long. Then the Nova Core fired. A pulse of pure energy erupted from the Dauntless, expanding outward in a perfect sphere of light. Unlike before, this wasn't a targeted beam. This was a wave that engulfed everything in its path. When the light faded, the battlefield had changed completely. Every Screeth ship hung motionless in space, their systems completely shut down, not destroyed, just precisely disabled. But the victory came at a cost. On the Dauntless, consoles exploded in showers of sparks. The lights flickered and died, replaced by dim emergency lighting. "Damage report," Jack called out, helping a fallen officer back to his station. "Power systems critical," came the response. "The Nova Core is offline, engines non-functional, life support running on backup power." Jack looked out at the disabled Screeth fleet. "And our weapons?" "All weapon systems are down, Captain. We're defenseless." As the crew worked to restore basic systems, Natalie called out from her station. "Captain, multiple ships dropping out of FTL. They're council ships. Valari, Zenthar, Plex. They've broken through the blockade." Jack watched as friendly alien ships surrounded the disabled Screeth fleet. The Mars colony was safe, but the battle for humanity's place in the galaxy was far from over. On the council station, Susan Clark received news of the Dauntless's victory. As she prepared to address the council again, she knew that the real fight, the diplomatic one, was just beginning. And somewhere in deep space, Elder Zix Toril received the news with cold fury. His plan had failed, but he wasn't finished yet. If he couldn't ban human weapons, he would take more direct action. The Dauntless was crippled and vulnerable. Now was the perfect time to strike. The human warship was too powerful, so the galaxy tried to ban it. Part 5. Resolution and New Equilibrium. The USS Dauntless drifted in space, its once powerful engines silent. Emergency lights cast a dull red glow throughout the ship. In the medical bay, doctors treated injured crew members. The Nova Core's massive power surge had damaged systems throughout the vessel. On the bridge, Captain Jack Harrison studied damage reports on a flickering screen. "How long until we have engines back?" he asked. Chief Engineer Daniel Wright looked exhausted. 3 days for minimal power. The surge fried most of our main circuits." Jack nodded. The Dauntless had won the battle, but was now vulnerable. Repair ships from Mars were on their way, but would take time to reach them. Natalie Powell monitored communications with her backup systems. "Captain, I'm picking up an urgent message from Lieutenant Clark on the council station. Elder Zix Toril has disappeared, along with several ships loyal to him." Jack immediately understood the danger. "He's coming for us. The Dauntless is his primary target now." "We can't fight in this condition," Olivia said. The weapons specialist looked defeated. The Nova core is completely burned out. Jack's expression remained calm. Then we'll find another way. Start working on the short-range defensive systems. We might not have our main weapon, but we're not helpless. On the council station, Susan Clark and Ambassador Thurlack worked frantically to build support for Earth. The news of the Dauntless's victory at Mars had spread throughout the galaxy. Many races were impressed by the human ship's power, and by its restraint. The Screeth ships had been disabled, not destroyed. The humans could have annihilated their enemies, Thurlack told the council. Instead, they chose to spare lives. Does this sound like a species we should fear? Many council members were beginning to change their minds about humans, but some, those closest to Zix Toril, remained hostile. Where is Elder Zix Toril? Susan demanded. He should answer for his crimes against humanity. A council security officer approached nervously. The Elder left the station 6 hours ago with 3 warships. We've lost contact with them. Susan's face paled. She immediately contacted Earth. Admiral Russell, Zix Toril is missing with 3 warships. I believe he's targeting the Dauntless. The Admiral's response was immediate. All available ships are moving to protect the Dauntless, but none can reach it in time. As the damaged human warship drifted, its sensors detected 3 ships approaching at high speed. They weren't broadcasting identification signals. It's Zix Toril, Jack told his crew. He wants to destroy the evidence of his conspiracy, and our ship is the biggest piece of that evidence. The crew prepared for battle, though everyone knew their chances were slim. The Dauntless had limited shields and few working weapons. As Zix Toril's ships closed in, Jack ordered all power diverted to shields. We can't win this fight, but we can survive until help arrives. The alien ships opened fire. The Dauntless shuddered under the assault. Shield power dropped quickly. It was only a matter of time before they failed completely. Jack watched the enemy ships on his tactical display. An idea formed in his mind, desperate but possible. Olivia, he called. The Nova core is burned out, but do we still have power in the targeting system? Olivia checked her console. Yes, minimal power. Why? Can we send a targeting signal without actually firing the weapon? Make it look like we're powering up for another attack? Olivia's eyes widened as she understood. Yes. It would be just a signal, no actual weapon discharge, but their sensors might not know the difference. Do it, Jack ordered, and make it look convincing. The Dauntless began to glow softly, just as it had before firing the Nova core. It was merely lights and sensor ghosts, but from outside, it appeared the human ship was preparing another devastating attack. Zix Toril's ships hesitated. Their sensors detected the power buildup but couldn't tell it was fake. The memory of what happened to the Screeth fleet was too fresh. They're pulling back, Natalie reported, surprised. They're maintaining distance. Jack smiled grimly. Sometimes the reputation of a weapon is as powerful as the weapon itself. For 2 hours the standoff continued. The Dauntless maintained its illusion while Zix Toril's ships circled cautiously. Then new ships appeared on the sensors, vessels, from Earth and friendly council races. Seeing he was outnumbered, Zix Toril finally fled, but his escape was short-lived. Volari ships intercepted him at the edge of the system. The Elder and his conspirators were captured and returned to the council to face justice. 1 week later, the council convened an emergency session. The Dauntless, partially repaired, docked at the council station. Captain Harrison and his crew were invited to attend as honored guests. Susan Clark stood before the full council with Jack at her side. Humanity came to the stars in peace, she said. We developed the Nova core for defense, not conquest. The recent events have proven our intentions. The council speaker, the massive jellyfish-like being, responded. The actions of Elder Zix Toril do not represent the council. We apologize for the attacks on human colonies. Jack stepped forward. Apologies are accepted, but what happens now? Will you still ban our defensive technology? The room fell silent. This was the crucial question. Finally, the speaker replied. The ban on excessive force weapons will be revised. Each species has the right to defend itself. but with rights come responsibilities. A new treaty was proposed. Human Novacore technology would be recognized as legitimate when used with appropriate restraint. Humans would share some of their defensive innovations with the Council, while keeping the key elements secret. In return, humanity would gain full membership in the Galactic Council. Most surprisingly, the treaty included a new role for humans. With their unique combination of advanced weapons and ethical restraint, human ships would serve as peacekeepers in disputed regions of space. "You trust us with this responsibility?" Jack asked the Council speaker privately after the session. "Your ship could have destroyed the Skreath fleet but chose not to," the speaker replied. "You could have fired on Zixtaral's ships when they attacked you, but you found another way. The galaxy needs such wisdom." 3 months later, the USS Dauntless, fully repaired and upgraded, prepared for its first mission as a Council peacekeeping vessel. Its Novacore had been rebuilt with new safety features designed by Olivia and Daniel. On the bridge, Jack looked at his crew with pride. "The Council tried to ban our ship because it was too powerful," he said. "Now they're sending us out because of that same power. The difference is, now they understand that humans know when not to use it." As the Dauntless departed the Council station, ships from various alien races escorted it in a gesture of respect. The human warship that had once frightened the galaxy was now its defender. Jack stood at the view screen watching the stars. Humanity had faced its first great test among the galactic community and emerged stronger. They had kept their right to defend themselves while gaining the trust of other species. "Set course for the border regions," he ordered. "Let's show the galaxy what humans can really do when given the chance to keep the peace." The Dauntless's engines glowed as the ship accelerated to FTL speed, carrying humanity's hopes and values into the wider universe. The ship that was too powerful to be allowed had become too valuable to lose.